All right. So, like I just said, we are going to, over the next two class periods, we're going to cover the election process and we're going to focus specifically on the presidency. If you look at your graphic organizer, let's understand how we're going to use it. Okay? Graphic organizer is broken into a couple different sections. At the top of your paper, where it says the way it used to be, I'm going to give you some history and background. Because I don't think you can understand how our election process works now if you don't understand what it used to look like. Because it used to be way more interesting and way more exciting and full of drama. We've changed a lot of that, but the changes don't make sense unless you work through the drama. Then we're going to work through what happens in the primary or the nomination season, what happens in the general election season, and then we will work through the Electoral College and try to understand why in the world we would have something so insane like that. Across the bottom of your paper, I've given you a timeline just for a reference. This is just kind of showing you what happens along the way. You can write down whatever you want to write down in this. Like, this is yours. These are your notes. So I would think I'm just trying to help you to classify so you have some kind of sequence of how things happen. So on our first slide, though, I do want to make a note and make sure we talk about the things that are not just about the president. So when you go and vote, know that you're going to have a ton of stuff on your ballot. Locally, what kind of things do you think might be on there? Mayor sometimes. We don't, in Texas, we don't vote for city judges, but we do vote for county. And then you're going to have state judges. Sometimes you're going to have a school board election. Sometimes we run those separately, and then other places put them all on one ballot. You guys, you might have as many as 60 things on your ballot, is what I'm trying to get at. It'll start at the highest national level, and it will work its way all the way down. Sometimes you'll have issues that you get to vote on, and they'll say, how do you feel about this? Do you want to legalize this? Do you not want to? Remember in your reading, you kind of read about, like, referendums. So sometimes you might have referendums, like all of those kind of things, all right? Why do we have all of those things on our ballot? Why do we get to vote for so many things? It's one very important word, and it's almost always the answer in this class. Nope. We spent a ton of time talking about it in Unit 1.
Federalism.
Yay! Very good. Because of federalism, all right? The reason is because of federalism. Because if we have this division of power, then we have a representative form of government at every level, then we also have to have an opportunity to choose all of those people. Some states let you vote for more things than others. If you stay in Texas, we get to vote for more things. Like in Texas, we vote for a governor and a lieutenant governor and a comptroller and a railroad commissioner. Like we vote for so many things in Texas. Other states, they have more appointed offices. That's just Texas culture, right? That we wanted to retain as much individual power as possible. All right, the other thing I want to make sure we understand the difference in is a presidential election and a midterm election. People confuse this a lot. Who thinks they can tell me the difference? I feel like Barrett might know. I just have this feeling.
I guess presidential we just vote on like president, but then midterm is like halfway through their term. We vote on like I think it's like Senate and those kind of things.
Mostly. I mean, you're mostly right. The biggest thing that people confuse is that in a presidential election year, so presidential election year was 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. So every 4 years we have a presidential election. The midterm election happens halfway through. We vote for everything but president. So in the presidential election, you vote for everything. The midterm just doesn't have a president on there. So in what year is it? Okay. So in 2018, we won't vote for president in Texas, but we will get to vote for governor. One of our senators is up for re-election. You always get to vote for House of Representatives because they only serve a 2-year term. Then every state office that expires, then every local, like all of that stuff will be on there. Then in 2020, we will have president. We will not have a governor. We will have a senator. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're staggered because not every length of term is 4 years. Some offices are elected for 6. Some are elected for 2. Some are elected for 4. So everything's kind of staggered. Where do you think people tend to show up more? Do you think people tend to vote more in a presidential election or a midterm election? Okay. I know you can't see this chart very well, but you can see the lines. So the tall ones, this goes all the way back to 1964. The tall is the green is the turnout for a presidential election. The yellow is a midterm. Presidential, midterm, presidential, midterm. So obviously, people are less likely to vote in a midterm election, which if I accomplish nothing in this class, I hope that you will be different. Because the reality is the midterm election is probably as or more important. We have got to pay more attention to Congress and hold them more accountable through that election process. But you can also kind of see it mirrors, right? So in 1964, a whole lot more people voted for president than they did in 2008. I mean, it's pretty significant. But the drop off the midterm kind of always mirrors. Does that make sense? So midterm, everything but the president. President is everything. It's not just president. Okay. All right. Why? Why would people be more likely to vote for in a presidential election year than a midterm election year? Noah?
They find the presidential election to seem like more important because it's the leader of our or the leader of our country, so they want to go and vote for that instead of whichever side of the
Okay. And that's fair, right? I mean, like, there's a perception that the president's the leader of the free world. Aaron?
I think maybe not as many people are as politically informed or as educated enough to vote in the midterm or confident in their decision as
Mhm.
far as voting in the midterm. So a lot of people just be like, I don't know about this, so I'm not going to vote altogether.
Which
And
is,
then and
yeah.
then those people that vote in the midterm are pretty politically educated and will continue to vote in the presidential election, and then those people who didn't vote in the presidential election will come back, or didn't vote in the midterm will come back to vote in the presidential, and that's why the graphs mirror each other, is because you have a constant who's added back in.
Good. That makes sense. Alonzo?
The media,
What about the media?
they blow it up.
Yeah. They pay more attention to the president, right? Because it's more interesting, it's more, there's so much money. The amount of money spent running for president in this country is just staggering. I mean, it's absolutely staggering. I can't remember the numbers. I'll have to show you because I always have to look it up because I can't remember numbers like that. They're too big. But the other thing is too, and I think it's important, Noah kind of hinted at this, that is the only national office we have. It's the only thing that every person in this country who is a registered voter gets to vote for. And so it makes sense that there would be more attention placed there because that's something that everyone has an opportunity to think about. Okay? All right, so we covered that. Here's what I want you guys to do. You did some reading. It's important that you understand the sequence of how we elect a president. So on your desk, you've got some strips that have like an overview of this process. What I want you guys to do is to mix those up, and I want you to spread them out in your desk in sequential order. Okay? When you think you've got them right, call me over and I'll check them, and then we can use that as a basis for a discussion.